Steady now.
For long-lost series, there's always a key point when these abruptly fade into time. Sometimes it's declining sales that lead to the end, or the changing times see these properties left in the past. On rare occasions, an entry is deemed so bad that it kills a series on the spot. This fate unfortunately befell Dino Crisis. Despite two critically praised entries that sold like hotcakes, Capcom would struggle with the third entry due to elements beyond their control forcing a project restart. Instead of remaining on Earth, the prequel would jettison into space and change the cast of characters. Over 2 decades later, the series remains in hiatus, and unfortunately, its ending remains a low note.
I am Satoko Evans, the captain of the Ozymandias. 194 days after leaving Earth, the Ozymandias was exposed to harmful cosmic rays.
Things start uneasy with the story, opting to move away from the scenario teased at the end of Dino Crisis 2. Instead, a ship lost for 3 centuries resurfaces in 2548 and sees the SOAR team responding. But when their ship is attacked by the Ozymandias, only a few survive and infiltrate the ship. But even worse, the place seems to be overrun by dinosaurs, which leaves Patrick Tyler and Sonia Hart to fend off these creatures while exploring the ship. Facing terrifying creatures in space could have been interesting like Alien, but it feels closer to Jason X, thanks to the thread being rather bland and mired with uninteresting characters.
Patrick, I'm leaving the investigation bit to you. Now go.
Patrick's attempt to spout occasional cheesy one-liners drop like lead, Sonia and the Commander fail to make much of an impact, and Karen, a lone survivor, is ethereally boring. Needless to say, the absence of Regina was sorely felt here. Things get worse once you start playing. As something of a continuation of the action focus of Dino Crisis 2, Patrick comes armed with an infinite ammo weapon, though you can collect special ammo for a shotgun and sniper shot. The other key offensive item comes from Wasp, a defensive pack which allows you to shoot targeted projectiles and unlock certain doors. You also come equipped with a jetpack, which allows you to ascend and speed dash, which is handy for dodging. That being said, despite this leaning towards action, there is an element of classical survival horror present too, in the form of the Ozymandias. At several points, you'll need to change the formation of the ship to progress, which means returning to old areas with a new twist. And it's kind of satisfying to see the two ethos of prior games melded together. Unfortunately, several major issues hurt the experience. The most notable is the camera system, which opts for static shots like prior games, changing angle as you move to another part of the room. Unfortunately, fast movement sees you rapidly moving between these screens, which results in a few headaches. Sometimes you'll be sent back and forth as the control struggles to readjust to changing perspectives, which isn't helped by the move to fully digital controls. Platforming is a struggle as distant views and changing shots make it harder to line up jumps. Enemies also have a habit of hovering off screen, which can be countered with your gun's strong auto aim, but it doesn't make for much fun. And with no way to alter your perspective, you'll find it's a constant fight to see where you even are. It's a shame that Dino Crisis 3 feels so much less accomplished than its predecessors. The Ozymandias certainly has novelty from its changing shape, but it's also incredibly dull to explore. Every room is smothered in cold steel, making you wonder how any person could have lived on this ship without facilities like a canteen. The enemy types also prove disappointing. Their designs are certainly unnerving, comprising of mutated monsters, but most of the game is spent fighting 3 types of dino. The only bright spot is the bigger boss fights, including encounters with a T-Rex, and these offer something different from the bland norm. The last bungled element is difficulty. Dino Crisis 3 is quite hard, in that foes deal potent damage, saves are spaced quite far out, and pickups are quite rare to offset being able to purchase ammo with combat points. There is also a limited lives system on normal and hard, which means losing them all sees you sent back to a save. It doesn't feel satisfying, and even on easy, the game can be a chore. At least Capcom's penchant for quality presentation is here, leveraging the Xbox to deliver a strong looking game. The texture work is fantastic, characters look and animate well, the few dinosaur models are well crafted, and superb CG scenes punctuate key moments or ship changes. Performance can see a few hitches during busy boss fights, but it's quite rare. The sound isn't quite as consistent, but also shows plentiful highs. The voice work is quite spotty, ranging from cheesy to bland, and doesn't help the underwhelming roster of characters.
Tell me, Mother, are there any survivors on this ship?
Why did you attack the Saber? Where did those dinosaur monsters come from? Say something!
The effects are decent enough, though gunfire sounds a touch weak, which undermines combat. But the music is often stronger, from the tense safe room theme to bombastic battle tracks. An initial run of Dino Crisis 3 takes around 7 hours, depending on your chosen difficulty and how much you struggle. There's a couple of extras to be unlocked upon completion of higher settings, adding a few unique quirks to a new playthrough. There's also a ranking system based on your points earned, how often you save, and your difficulty. You can cut the completion time down with repeated runs, though it's admittedly not as enticing as with prior games. Dino Crisis 3 proved the death knell for its series, a blow it wouldn't recover from as it fell far behind the likes of Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Despite cries from fans for its revival, it's remained in stasis for 2 decades. The third entry unfortunately proves a real low note for the iconic company, an uneasy adventure which stumbles in key areas. With an infuriating camera system, bland gameplay, and an underwhelming story, it pales next to the previous entries in terms of memorability or fun. While survival purists loaded with patience may scrape some enjoyment from this game, most would do well to steer clear. In space, no one can hear you sigh.
Sonya! Captain! We have a hungry